So, hello students, welcome to the lecture. In the previous lecture, we had started the environmental studies. In this lecture, we are going to continue the environmental studies to understand the better relations with the environment and the human activities. Okay, so let's start. So first, we will start with the biosphere. Okay, in the previous lecture, we had discussed about the components of environment, right, which are lithosphere, second one is hydrosphere, third one is atmosphere, and the fourth one is biosphere. Remember? And also we had discussed about the divisions of environment, right? And also we had discussed that how the components of environment are different from the divisions of environment. Okay, that was the main concept which we were discussing. Okay, so I hope you have revised them so that you will be able to understand the concept better in this lecture. Okay, so basically we know that the lithosphere stands for the land part. Okay, the hydrosphere stands for the water part. The atmosphere stands for the air part. Okay, but what is biosphere and for what it stands for? So basically, when you combine lithosphere, atmosphere and hydrosphere, basically when you combine lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere combined together, then you formed biosphere. Okay, then you formed the biosphere. Got it? So basically biosphere is the combination of all these three particles: lithosphere, hydrosphere and the atmosphere. Okay, and if you look at closely, then biosphere basically bifurcate into two forms. First is our bio, which stands for life. Second one is our sphere, which stands for the layer. Okay, first bio stand for life, second sphere stand for layer. Okay, so you can say it's around for the layer of life, because in all the areas, whereas it is lithosphere, it's hydrosphere, even in the atmosphere there are the living beings. Okay, and if you look at this picture, so you will find that this is the hydrosphere. Okay, these rocks and mountains are the part of lithosphere. Okay, and these particles are stands for the atmosphere. Got it? And when you combine all of them, then they formed one single sphere, which is the biosphere. Okay, so if we started digging down in this concept, then there will be several interesting questions which we should come in our mind. So let's start those questions. Okay, so first is our lithosphere. Okay, lithosphere, which stands for the outermost boundary. So we know that on this boundary various humans, animals and trees are living. Okay, that's what we know. Got it? Similarly, if we talk about the hydrosphere, then various marine animals like fish, crocodile, Okay, sea rabbits, and even aquatic trees who are living in the hydrosphere. Okay, so if we look at them, then we can simply say, okay, if biosphere stands for the living things, then why we should consider three parts: atmosphere, lithosphere, then hydrosphere. So the question is, if we are only talking about the biosphere and biosphere stand for the living things, then life is only about lithosphere and hydrosphere. Why we are including the atmosphere? What is the reason behind it? Okay, this is the general question which should come in our mind. But if we try to find the answer of it, then we will find not only lithosphere, not only hydrosphere having the life, okay, but atmosphere also having a life. That's why it is a part of biosphere. Okay, so if I say that the atmosphere having a life, okay, I'm saying this, then what are the creatures, what are the organisms that are living in the atmosphere? Okay, so most of the time birds come in our mind. Okay, birds, I have seen birds who are flying in the sky, and sky comprises of air, and air is a part of atmosphere, so simply means that bird is a part of atmosphere. Okay, then my friend, your answer is totally wrong, because birds are not a part of atmosphere. They do not live in the atmosphere. They use atmosphere as a transportation. Remembering what I'm saying, they use atmosphere only for a transportation. Okay, if there was one bird, she want to go to this area, okay, so she will not go by walking through these mountains. She will generally go up in the air, travels, and then reach this point. Okay, so you are considering that area as a living point, then you are wrong. She is living there. Okay, she is using it only for transportation. Similarly, like the humans use aeroplanes. If I have to go from Delhi to Bangalore, it will take me around 2 days from the roadside. If I took the flight, then it would be about 2.5 hours only. Okay, so if I'm using the aeroplane and using the atmosphere just to fly, doesn't mean that atmosphere is my home. Got it what I'm saying? Similar things happen with the bird. So birds are not the creatures that live in the atmosphere. Got it? But various bacterias, microorganisms, and viruses are there who are living and a part of atmosphere. Got it? So because these organisms are living there, that's why they're having the life in the atmosphere. And because atmosphere having these creatures, that's why atmosphere is a part of biosphere. Okay, so basically the biosphere is a region which comprise lithosphere, hydrosphere, and the atmosphere. Got it? Now let's move forward. Okay, so after finishing the biosphere, the next question in front of us is the biodiversity. Like, what do you mean by biodiversity? Biodiversity refers to the variety and the variability of life on the earth. Okay, if you look at the term biodiversity closely, then you will find it has two forms. First stands for life, second stands for the diversity. Okay, life and the diversity. Got it? So basically all the creatures who are living on the earth are are not similar, but they all are different from each other. They all are different from each other. Got it? And that is the reason for biodiversity. That is the reason for biodiversity. Got it? So basically you can say biodiversity refers to the variety and variability of life on earth. Okay, all the creatures who are living on this earth, and you can say all the creatures who are a part of this earth, are they diverse nature, or you can say are of the diverse nature. They are not similar by their physical characteristics as well as chemical characteristics. Okay, so they are not similar. So that's make a part of the biodiversity. Got it? And because they having these things, that's why we all are different. Got it? Now, after closing the biodiversity, let's go to the some major points which we should consider while we learn about the biodiversity. Okay, so it includes diversity within a species, genetic diversity between species, species diversity, and of the ecosystem diversity. So basically you can say these are the divisions of biodiversity. Okay, first is our genetic diversity. Okay, thereafter is our species diversity. Okay, then our ecosystems diversity. Okay, so what do you mean by genetic diversity? What do you mean by species diversity? What do you mean by ecosystem diversity? We have just known that they all are the components, or you can say the divisions, not components, but the division of the biodiversity. Okay, but what we called and what we considered inside them. Okay, so basically if we look at the genetic biodiversity, then we find the first thing, which is the within species definition, which is the within species definition. Okay, so the biodiversity which occurs within a species is known as the genetic biodiversity. Okay, just take an example. Okay, so I have made 4 people here. This one belongs to the USA. This one belongs to the India. This one belongs to the African continent. This one belongs to the China. Okay, so if we look at them, then what we will find? We will find that they both and they all are the part of the Homo sapiens Cro-Magnon. Okay, Homo sapiens Cro-Magnon. We all are a part of Homo sapiens Cro-Magnon, but are we all same in the physical and the chemical means? Then the answer is no. We all are diverse. We can easily identify who is belong to the USA, who is belong to the India, who is belong to the Africa, who is belong to the China, because of the genetics, or you can say the characteristics which we have acquired over a time after our birth, and then these characteristics has been passing on from one generation to another generation because of the genetics and DNA, which gives rise to the physical and chemical means biodiversity, often termed as genetic diversity. Got it? I hope now you have understand what you mean by genetic diversity. Okay, the next one is a species diversity. Okay, species diversity. Then this stands for the between species. This stands for between species biodiversity. Got it? So if we look at them carefully, what we will find? We will find that This biodiversity occurs amongst the species. Okay, just take an example. There is a human and there is a dog. Okay, and if I ask you, just tell me who is human, who is dog. Will you able to do it? Yes, you will be able to do it because you will identify, okay, this looks like human, this looks like dog. So this one is human, this one is dog. Looks like, okay, they are different so that you are so sure in finding out that who is human and who is dog. Okay, so this type of diversity which is amongst the species, it is a part of species biodiversity. Got it? Now the third one is of the ecosystem diversity. Okay, third one is our ecosystem diversity. Okay, it occurs within the ecosystem. Okay, it occurs within the ecosystem. Just take an example. First one is a terrestrial ecosystem. Then is a marine ecosystem. Okay, so the terrestrial ecosystems stand for the land, marine ecosystem stands for the water. Okay, so all the creatures, all the living beings which are found in the terrestrial as well as in the marines, are they required the same temperature, the same fooding facilities, the same reproduction facilities, the same accommodation? Are they possess the same threat to each other? All these things are similar? Then the answer will be no. These things are not similar. That's why that's make a difference between ecosystems. Okay, and this is covered under the ecosystem diversity. Okay, so basically next part which should come in our mind is the biodiversity conservation. Biodiversity conservation. Okay, so basically you can say the biodiversity conservation is essential to maintain the ecosystem services and support human well-being. But first thing which we should understand is that what do we mean by biodiversity conservation? That's the main point. Okay, what do we understand by biodiversity conservation? So let's understand it. Basically, biodiversity conservation stands for protecting the biodiversity. Okay, as we all know that we are developing, okay, population is on increase, then there is also infrastructure development, deforestation. Okay, because of all these activities we are directly or indirectly harming the society, and you can say harming the social harmony amongst the species which formulates a biodiversity. Okay, and somehow we are required to stop these things, otherwise we will the one who will suffering this cause. Okay, that's why protecting the biodiversity is comes under the biodiversity conservation, to conserve the thing so that this social harmony could be preserved for long period. Okay, now let's move forward. So these are the several parts, okay, of environmental studies. And the third part, after basic introduction, components, and the biodiversity also, we have a environmental pollution. Okay, but To understand the environmental pollution, we first understand the word pollution. Word pollution. So basically, pollution stands for the spreading of pollutants and their harming effect. Okay, so basically you can say the pollution stands for the spreading of pollutants and their harming effect. What do you mean by pollutants? So you can say the pollutants are basically the agents, not elements, agents which spreads pollution, which spreads pollution. Got it? So basically, pollutants are the agents which spread pollution, and that is a part of environmental pollutions, because in our surroundings there are so many pollutants present which are spreading the pollution, and pollution is harmful for us. Okay, so the first type of pollution is the air pollution. Okay, is the air pollution, which is generally produced because of the burning of fossil fuels. Because of burning of fossil fuels. Okay, so what do you mean by fossil fuels? Basically, your fossil fuels stands for petrol, diesel, coal. Okay, so these are the fossil fuels. Fossils are basically the remains of creatures. Okay, basically those creatures who used to live on this earth billions of years ago, they died, and then when they die, they decompose and they produce the fossil fuels which we are using, and they are called fossil fuels because they are obtained from the fossils of the animals who got died billions of years ago. Okay, but these fossil fuels comprised of carbon. Okay, and when we use them, when we burn them, then in the form of this smoke, we generating back the carbon into the air. Okay, and because of this, the air is getting polluted, and the carbon dioxide and the carbons is not so helpful for us when we come to the healthy life. Okay, but it is very much harmful for the humans, for the animals, and for the global climate. Got it? Now let's move forward. Now it is a water pollution. Okay, so basically water pollution is a contamination of water bodies by pollutants like sewage, industrial wastes, and the chemicals. Okay, and how does it spread? Let me take an example. Suppose this is a factory, the smoke is coming out. Okay, and then there is a water body which is passing nearby the factory. Okay, now this factory, when this factory will produce something, okay, then they will generate the waste. Okay, suppose if you are putting 100% raw material into the production process, okay, it is not possible that you will consume entire 100%. It is not possible. Only maximum up to 80 to 90% you can consume. Okay, in the production process. But if we are putting 100% and we are obtaining only 80 to 90%, that means the remaining 20 to, you can say that 10 to 20% is not good, or you can say it's wasteful. So where we are dumping this waste makes the water pollution. Okay, suppose in this factory they are putting 100 but only using 80, the remaining 20 is waste. Okay, and because this 80 and this 100, basically not 80, this 100 has been gone down under the various chemical processes. So the remaining 20% which have been come out from this process is highly contaminated. It's highly harmful. Okay, but this factory will connect a waste pipeline, and all these waste will come out from this factory to the water bodies and will dissolve in the water, and the people who are drinking the water of this water body will be affected adversely. Okay, like in this condition, you can see that there must be some factory nearby it, and that's how the waste material is plumbing out into the water. Got it? Now let's move forward. It's a soil pollution. Okay, so the introduction of toxic substance in the soil impacting agricultural productivity and ecosystems health. Okay, like this type of waste which we generally dump into the soil. This waste contain carbon, polythene, harmful substances, and all these things which are harmful for human beings, for environment, and we are dumping this waste in the soil. What will happen? The trees who are growing in the soil, like these trees, okay, the water bodies which are passing through this soils, like this one, and even the crops like this ones, the crops which have been growing on this soil will be affected, and the consumers of these things will also get affected because now these things are contaminated. Got it? Now let's move forward. Is the noise pollution. Noise pollution is the excessive noise that disturbs the natural environment and human health. Okay, like these people, you are seeing them. Okay, and this also. Okay, these people, like this man, he's trying to study the newspaper. But behind him you can see that the bus is going on, the JCBs and some construction is going on, so there will be a lot of noise. Okay, and this noise will affect the concentration of this man. Okay, disturbs his mental peace. Okay, and you can say also will harmful for his hearing. Okay, because a normal human person can only understand the sound waves lies between 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. If the sound waves beyond and below it, the human will not be able to understand it. Okay, so noise pollution basically adversely affect the hearing capacity of humans. Okay, so students, in this lecture we had discussed several parts of the environmental studies. Okay, so make sure you just revise all the things. We will meet in the next lecture. Till then, thank you.